All right, thank you for tuning in to the BBN. We are coming to you with our first ever pre-tournament show. This is something we are going to do moving forward to help all our viewers understand the format and tournament style of where we're playing. This year we're covering the third annual ABC Open at Palazzo di Bocce in Lake Orion, Michigan. With me today is Alex Gara, tournament director, founder of ABC, and also partner of BBN. So Alex, tell us how we got to where we are today.
Hi, Milan.
Hi, Alex.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good, good.
Good.
Super excited for next week. How did we get here? This is a tournament that we had in mind for years. We reached out to Palazzo di Bocce knowing that they had a commitment to excellence and these 10 beautiful synthetic courts, this amazing facility, and they weren't afraid for big ideas. And so Andy Zimmerman and I said, you know what, we want to do our own national tournament. We want to have our own spin on it. We want to show off some technology. We want to show off things like what would eventually become the BBN. Are you interested? It was a yes from the go. They did sort of require us to prove ourselves a little bit over the years. But with that, super gracious partners, and the more that we give to this tournament and the more that we have proven ourselves, the more that they've given too. So now we're on the precipice of the third annual. This year we've got 60 teams rolling in from, I think, 13 states, 3 provinces, nearly 40 clubs. So
That's
this
amazing.
This is a real...
So truly a national tournament.
Yes.
In every way, shape, or form you can think about it. That's one of the probably rivals almost some of the biggest ones in the country.
Yeah. Other than those Ohio majors and the World Series of Bocce and some of those, this is one of the big ones for sure.
Okay, so now we're going to break into the tournament format and style of play. Alex, what can we expect from this tournament?
So it's an open bocce tournament, meaning not international rules, but American rules. The back wall is dead. Games are played to 12 points with a possible timer after the 1 hour mark. That's going to be at the supervisor's discretion. So there are lead referees and supervisors. We're going to do our best to keep these games on time, to keep our schedule as tight as possible. No game should take over an hour. If it does, we may apply a timer. For the gold, there are 7. Well, I should start by saying this tournament has both a gold and a silver division. Often you'll play in a tournament and you'll play yourself either into the top of the bracket or into like a losers or second chance. For this one, we say from the offset, what are you? Are you a gold level player or silver level player? Are you here to play against the best of the best? Are you here to make friends with the bartenders and have a good time? Either way, we want you there. But we want it as a national tournament that was an also easily accessible tournament for players that may play in bar leagues or have not had as much experience and might be intimidated by going against the best players in the world. Hey, come out here, experience this, and play against your level of play.
Right, and I think it also, too, for a lot of newer players, because 3 years ago, my first big national tournament was the ABC Open, and I did silver. And that gave me the taste on it. By the same time next year, I was competing in gold.
Right.
I made it to the bronze championship. So I think this is a great way to, especially for teams that are a little more timid and don't want to put themselves out there, I think this creates avenue for them to be able to come in, get the feel of a big national tournament without as much stress as maybe worrying about maybe like a 1-2 knockout and then see you later.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a time and a place. As the sport grows, there's definitely a time and a place for all of these tournaments to exist. The double elim tournaments, the Ohio majors, those are awesome. They have all these incredible homegrown players that are drawn to these tournaments that are maybe 2-3 hour drive for them, maybe in their backyard. Not as easy for a California team to pick up and go and be eliminated in 2 games. There's also the nationals, and there's these tournaments that have a lot more sort of grace and heritage to them, a little more sophistication. That's really cool too, right? When you get real excited for those, you get the good jerseys, you're practicing Punta Raffavolo for months leading up to it. There's a place for that. This is kind of the modern tournament. This is the ABC Open. This is the Lone Star Open in Dallas. This is the Aldo de la Croce at the IABC in St. Louis. These are tournaments that guarantee that you're going to play a lot. So if you're going to pick up and go, you're going to book the hotel. We want to make sure you're getting lots of bocce. So guaranteed 6 games for all teams.
That's great.
That's a minimum 6 games. They'll play group play, and both in the gold and silver. So these are 5-team groups.
Okay.
Everyone starts the tournament with a seeding game. A seeding game is essentially a practice game. It means very little. Get you acclimated. Some of these teams have not rolled very much on synthetic. As we know, there's only so many synthetic courts in the country. So to take a team that might
used to play dirt or
exactly crushed stone,
different turf, anything else, right?
Exactly. Give them a little time to acclimate, and then all that does is sort of guide where you'll be in a group. So instead of randomly drawing groups, we're saying, okay, the winner from game 1, the winner from game 2, the loser from game 3, the loser from game 4, and the team that almost won from game 5. That's a group. So they'll play those games within their group. That's 5 games, and then we'll break into brackets. There's a play-in for gold, and then if you don't make the play-in, you'll play in a bronze bracket. It goes to single elim on the second day, and we should wrap up by about 8 o'clock for both gold and silver on Saturday.
All right, this is the 3rd year of the ABC Open, and it's going to be the biggest year, and a lot of it is due to some help from some of the sponsors, both locally and both from Chicago. So, Al, who do we have to thank for it being the biggest year ever?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's the Oakland County Commissioner's Office. Oakland County, where Palazzo di Bocce resides, has seen this as an opportunity to bring tourism to the county, to showcase Palazzo as a fantastic facility, and to really support our mission. So a huge thank you to Oakland County. We also have got court sponsors this year. So these are our silver level sponsors. These are a lot of our Chicago homies, right? So we've got Chicago Distilling Company. We have the Sticky Bandits. The team has a sponsorship. We also have clubs from around the country supporting through court sponsorship. That's Babylon. That is the IABC. That's Roma Lodge, Waterside Club.
Dallas. Big shout out to Big E.
Exactly. And then lastly, some other support. People like Da Vinci Bocce donating Super Martel bocce balls to the cause. Advanced Auto Body, our friend Jeff Ellsworth from California, who has teamed up with the BBN West Coast, who are going to make an appearance on the BBN network next weekend too. That's Will Kessler. We're really excited to see what he's doing with the same setup that we have here. So thank you to all those folks and to a lot more, I'm sure. You'll see the graphics, you'll see it in the digital programs and on the signs throughout the Open this week.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate the entire community always getting behind helping grow the tournament. All right, let's get into some of the tournament play and some of the teams that are going to be here and what we can expect. Obviously, I think the biggest story of the year is Jose Bato, back-to-back champion, arguably the best player in the country, is not in this tournament.
No house team.
Which I think leaves the door wide open for anyone to come in and now claim that title.
Yep, this is the rumor is true. There is no Palazzo di Bocce team this year. That means no Jose Boto, no Hunter, no Leo. This tournament is as wide open as it's ever been, and I think that means we should probably look into who's going to be some contenders and favorites, huh?
I think so too. Do you think that this motivates teams that he's not in it, or kind of bums them out because everybody wants to be that team that beat Jose's team?
A little bit of both. I know that the Glutes Inc., which we'll talk more about in a little bit, I talked to both Vanessa and Mario, and they were both sort of disappointed. They felt like they, another year under their belt, they were ready to take another shot at the king. But I'm sure that there's teams in there that say, hey, that's one less team in our path.
Hey, I can see both ways. So we'll give you a quick rundown of the silver bracket and then the gold bracket, and then we'll go from there. So
yeah, let's start with the silver, huh?
So silver bracket.
Who do you like in the silver?
Well, obviously, last year's winners are going to be
Salute!
Salute! Exclamation point.
Yeah.
So Salute!
Kansas City. That's the Kansas City Sons of Columbus club out there. They rolled really nicely last year. They some of them are gold level pointers. If I recall, they don't have a lot of shooters on the team, so that's probably why they stick with silver. And I think they got to be the favorites again this year. So Salute.
I think until proven otherwise, the winners of last year are going to always be the favorites. Go ahead.
Another contender from last year. I think last year they were in there as Pin Oak. This is Bad Boy Bocce this year. That's our friends from Southern Illinois. Milan and I had a chance to head down to Heron and Murfreesboro, Illinois in April and botch it up with the homies down there. That was a really good time.
I had a great time with great courts. If you play in Murfreesboro, you'll hear from the people of Heron how their courts are better. And if you play in Heron, you're going to hear from them how the Murfreesboro people, how their courts are better. I loved it all.
Yeah, they seem very similar to me.
Also some new teams, too. So you got Southside Bocce, a Chicago team that this will be their first tournament on synthetics, I believe.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to having those guys down there. Shout out to Rock Island Public House and 115 Bourbon Street. That Southside Bocce community is growing fast and thriving. Yeah. How about speaking of growing fast? How about the Botchaholics? I heard you have a story about them.
They sent us packing at the JAC tournament in Cleveland. One of the funnest tournaments I've ever been to. Like we talked about earlier with the double elimination tournaments, you can travel and show up, and if you don't show up and ready to play, anyone can knock you out. And so that was a two-and-done tournament for me. But great team. They're super fun. I expect to be able to always know when they're playing because you can hear them. But don't be fooled. They've taken the developmental classes. They've been practicing a lot, and now they're starting to beat teams. So if you didn't take them serious before, I would highly recommend you start doing that. Otherwise, you're going to be like me watching them play while you're out.
I'm so impressed with how much growth that they've shown from the ABC Open last year. So 1 year ago to knocking Milan and Andy out of a tournament is pretty fantastic. So I anticipate Botchaholics will win a lot more games this year
I think so,
the
too.
ABC Open. Anyone else you like here? I kind of like this scrappy log cabin team, Slava-led log cabin. Jackie coming back out. We're really excited to have Jackie.
That's great. We just did a fundraiser for her. It was a huge success. I'm happy to see her that she's doing well and healthy and traveling and playing again. That team together plays a lot of bocce. I think they're still hoping to have a big showing. This could be their year, I think.
Another contender, Extreme Bocce from Ontario.
Oh, our Canadian friends, eh?
That's them. Frank, Val, and Andy joined this year by Mike Lisi. Mike is our buddy from Long Island, New York. I like this team a lot, too. They've shown they can compete.
There's a lot of talent on that team.
For sure. So that's another contender for me. I'm also looking forward to seeing how some of our ABC players play. This will be the third consecutive year for Lolo and Dan. They'll win some games for sure. I also like the Roma Lodge team. Roma Lodge up in Racine, Wisconsin, about an hour and a half north of us. I think they just I think that they have what it takes to play well anywhere. That's Mike and Jim Silvani with a few others. And then lastly, one more contender to point out is the last team who joined Cleveland Bocce Club.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mike Smith is the vice president of the Cleveland Bocce Club, and I understand he did a great job hosting you and Andy this summer.
Yeah, they were great. So for that Jack tournament, they opened the doors for us for their club. It's a beautiful, awesome facility. The story behind it's great. It's basically they decided they wanted a bocce club and built one, and they built a hell of a club with a huge community. Thank you to Mike Smith out there, Brad too as well. If you're listening, thanks for opening the door. And then one more club that we got a shot is Waterside as well, right? Or are they in the gold bracket?
Waterside's gold this year. Should we move to gold?
I think we should move to gold then. I think that's a good segue from there.
Sure.
So, like we talked about earlier, a lot of teams probably frothing at the mouth knowing that the last 2 years winners, the only winners of the ABC Open ever, are no longer in the ABC Open.
Yeah, so that I guess we'll start with the two runners up.
So we got Glutes Inc., which I think automatically now moves to the favorites since they were last year's runner-up. Everyone on that team has gotten better since last year, and they have had a success track record this year to prove it.
Yeah, especially Anthony LaBarbera, who showed off quite a bit at Nationals this year, proved himself as one of the top players in the country. And watching his progression over the last couple of years has been something special, too.
Yeah, that boy's going to be a problem.
And then let's take it back another year and go to the runners-up from 2021. That's the American Sons of Columbus team. So that's the Cardello brothers, John Liberto, and then they're rejoined by Greg De La Croce, Greg from St. Louis joining the KC boys. Greg's one of the best players in the country, too. So I think the Sons of Columbus will be a serious contender, if not a 1A and a 1B to Glutes, then maybe the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the talent pool this year is ridiculous.
Who else you seeing? Who else you like?
Just because of how much they play, I think any Ohio team on here is always going to be in contention. So you got Catulo Prime Meats. We got James Salvaggio on their team, too, and then Danny and Angelo with Tim. I think that's going to be a really good team. City of Trees, our all-female team, minus Mark. But Emmy Fuji, Lisa Watson, fantastic players. Joanne Lopez, also good. I think Mark was at Nationals as well. He was on their team.
Yeah, he was.
And he single-handedly knocked us out of the open play.
Yeah, he's a good player. So California, obviously, we have a lot of folks coming from out there, and we really appreciate that distance traveled for our tournament. We also have a lot of Canadians this year, and I think the Canadians will hold up well. A lot of them are familiar with Palazzo. One team that I have my eye on is the Alliance Payroll Solution. So this is Natale Scala's team. Natale, who was part of the Palazzo championship teams, has formed his own squad.
Oh, boy.
And this year he'll be touting out Nico Fox. Nico is the youngest player in the tournament. I believe he's 15, and we've had an opportunity to watch him play quite a bit this year. Amazing young player. He's kind of the next, and I think he's going to make a name for himself, even more so at the Open. And then they're joined with our friends from Montreal. So they are joined by Albert Guerrera and Guarino Ricci, and these are battle-tested PRV players. So that's a really good squad. And then, of course, when you're talking about North America's best player, we always think of Jose as a 1A, 1B, and then the other name that comes up, Pat Pezin. Pat's bringing his own squad out, Toronto 777, to the ABC Open. This is Pat's first ABC Open.
Oh, wonderful.
So it'll be instant contenders with Pat on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Pat and Jose won the Molisani 2s back in February.
Yeah.
So,
how about your team, Milan? I'm not playing. I'm too busy to play. But you are playing this year, and you've got a kind of a fun little mashup squad, right?
I do. So I took it upon myself this year to be as big of an ambassador for the sport as I can. So I've been trying to play with players that I know are good, and also good ambassadors as well. So reached out to John Dine from California. Great player, awesome guy. Looking forward to playing with him. I think anywhere he steps onto court, people know that he's going to be a problem with. Digging into the Ohio pool of players and stealing Anthony's younger brother, Nick Capogreco. So he beat us in World Series of Bocce. I'm just assuming by DNA alone he's a good player. Haven't had a chance to watch him play much, but always excited to do that. And then our local Rob Schroeder, so I think in the last year he's exponentially grown as a player. Yeah. And then there's me. You don't know what you're going to get. So
that's a fun team. I'm really glad the way that came together. And speaking of Nick Capogreco, I think Ron Capogreco just took down the Cleveland Cup. So that team will be hot. He's playing with the Trepepi consulting team.
Yeah.
What's nice about the Open is that you have time to adjust. So you can go in off of stone dust or whatever you're used to playing on, and you can afford to lose your seeding game. You can even afford to lose your first group play game. And if you are not as used to synthetic, not that Ron's not, he plays at Molisani, but you will quickly adjust and adapt, and by Friday evening, Saturday morning, everyone should be kind of evenly.
I think so too.
Yeah.
That's how it usually pans out too. And another thing I'm excited about with playing with Nick is that Ron just won the Cleveland Cup. I think Anthony basically makes a salary playing bocce a year.
Yeah.
And I can only assume Nick is hungry to prove himself, and I think we can tap into that.
Yeah, that's great. We also have friends coming from Mount Vernon, from St. Louis, from Lockport, a lot of ABC teams, a lot of Highwood teams. And then we have our very own BBN team this year, too. So Jesse Morris from Chicago is joining Mike Sheldon, the king of the BBN empire.
The brainchild.
And then Mike's dad, Lou. And then pointing legend Alan Knox. Alan Knox from California. So this is a team that will be deadly near the Polino. I promise you. If there's one thing that...
If Alan and Jesse are pointing...
Which they will be. They always are.
Good luck.
Yep, exactly.
Good luck to everyone. And I hope we can get Lou on the mic. He has a very interesting thing. He likes timing balls, rolls, and shots. And
like the speed at which it takes them to get to the Polino?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very interesting take. I kind of wonder if there's something in the future we could do with that analytic, but there has to be.
Yeah.
So,
and then let's just one more shout out, just because I forgot, and I know that they're going to be big time contenders. Is national stud Miles Russell's team?
Yeah. Giving Jose a run for his money on who the best player in the country is
right now. Yeah. So we talked about Anthony. We talked about Miles. They're joined by Maurizio Pirelli and Brian Polance. Brian just knocked Jose out of Cleveland Cup. Brian is like John Dine. Kind of an old bocce head. He's been around the world. He's played in every tournament known to man, and he's become sort of reinvested with the sport. And that's what we love about the ABC Open and about the Lone Star Open in Dallas and some other tournaments, is that they're reinvigorating people's love for the sport. Leo said that. Brian said that. Josh Wenson, you can't count out the home team. Josh from Palazzo.
Nope.
I think they might have picked up Jason Wisniewski this year too, so they'll be contenders too. So tons of good teams. It's wide open. Maybe our friend Rocco can open up the betting lines for the ABC Open.
I mean, the talent pool here is ridiculous, and it's going to be hard to just pick a team based on who you think has the most talent, because arguably there's like 5 or 6 that jump out immediately.
I'm going to stop looking down at my notes, because every time I do, I know I'm going to want to talk about
another team.
Yeah.
I think the goal, the winning team here is going to be who plays the smartest bocce, because it's not going to be on sheer talent alone. You're not going to win. A little bit of luck, a lot of bit of thinking, and I'm excited for this year.
Good brain, good bocce.
Good brain, good bocce.
All right, so let's make some bold predictions before we get out of here, Milan. Your team not included.
Okay, I can't pick myself.
I want you to pick your top 2. Who's going to be in the finals for gold and who's going to be in the finals for silver?
Oof. This is going to be a tough prediction. All right, so finals for gold. I'm going to go with Glutes Inc. because I think they want it. And, man, I'm really torn between a couple teams. But just on a sheer ridiculous amount of talent on their team, the Illinois-Ohio collection, so Miles, Maurizio, Anthony, and Brian. But they're going to have to get through me. So
I'm going to say Sons of Columbus, so our other runner-up, the 2021 team.
Yep.
And I'm going to, I don't want to go all chalk with glutes, but I kind of do too. Let's say Sons of Columbus, and how about Natale, the Alliance payroll team? So Natale won the ABC Open back-to-back, and he won World Series of Bocce back-to-back.
Oh, there you go.
If that isn't a bocce resume, I don't know what is. For silver...
Or Tripepi Consulting, too, because Ron's coming off of the biggest tournament of the year win.
You can't pick them all, Milan. You can't pick them all.
All right.
For silver, I'm going to pick the I'm going to mix it up this year. No offense to Salute, but I'm going to say that Cleveland Bocce Club, our last entry, I think we might have hooked them up with a ringer for their 4th. That's unofficial right now, but my inside track on the information, I'm going to say Cleveland Bocce Club versus let's give it up to my boy Jerry Camasano. Break a you balls.
Break your bowls. All right. I was looking at a few here. Extreme Bocce, I think, is going to be a contender. There's no way.
They're going to be too hungover.
And then I think we're going to see Roma Lodge.
Okay, the Silvanis.
They have been hanging around. I see them everywhere. They're playing, mm-hmm. And usually the teams that you constantly see that are out there playing just get better, and I think this is the one they can break open.
I love it. Okay, those are our predictions. That's our team rundown. We are from recording, we're 1 week away. We will be checking in frequently throughout the tournament. Make sure you go to AmericanBocceCo.com to check live standings, the schedules, and links to the BBN. The BBN will be recording on Friday, September 8th, and Saturday, September 9th. Both times approximately 5 to 9, 6 to 10. We'll dial that in a little more accurately for you.
There will be a post every day telling you what time to tune in, and then obviously we can never predict when things are going to end, but we can give you a best guesstimate.
And before we go, I want to show
us some of this year's ABC swag, Al.
All right, so we'll start with the gifts. So every player this year gets their choice of water bottle, tumbler, or campfire mug. In lieu of a classic welcome bag, we're going to give you only good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Some Lifesaver mints in there.
None of that. And then more excitably, I have the medals to show off.
Quite possibly the coolest medals I've ever seen. I might be a little biased, but let's see if we can zoom in on these bad boys.
Check those out. So you've got the raised engraving on them, the gold, silver, and bronze. On the back, gold division first place. Ooh. There's a silver division as well. You'll hang those proudly in your medal collection if you dare win the ABC Open.
We dare you to. And also, let's not leave out biggest cash prize you guys have had to date, right?
Yeah, we're doing over $15,000 in cash between both divisions, with $5,000 going to the gold winner. So there's some money to be won as well.
It's always nice if you can win and cover your weekend expenses.
Exactly. Well, I look forward to spending more time in the BBN booth with you and Mike and Dave next week.
Oh, you guys are going to see us all next weekend, but if you're watching this, it's this weekend.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
I'm Milan Tomic. This is Alex Gara. Thank you for tuning in to the BBN.